how are you?
Good, how are you? It's so nice to meet you. What a smile you have.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's such an awesome smile. I love it.
Likewise, back to you.
Thank you.
My name is Maurice Williams. I am the CEO and founder of a nonprofit born with purpose. Within this organization, we desire to help build the character, the skills, and the dreams of young people. We are very, I guess, our pillar in our program is love.
Yes.
We show love, and in a sense, when we are able to provide this framework and this environment of love, students are able to be themselves. They're able to, take off the mask, if you will, and to be fully authentic to what their identity is. And that's when transformation happens, not just for them, but for their peers, because now they have become leaders. And now they know how to translate love and understand love, and also to know what love doesn't look like. And they're able to hold people accountable. So that's the essence of our program. And it takes on a variety of different ways. So we'll do sports mentorship. We'll do a public speaking class. We'll do character development. There's so many different legs to how we offer this transformation or offer these love programs, but it's really based off of student interest. We realize that the student interest, when you get that, you can kind of backdoor empowerment and backdoor encouragement and love. And before you know it, they say, I learned all this. Yeah, you did.
It's like sticking broccoli in like a grilled cheese sandwich or something.
Exactly right. I think that's the best way that you can break this down. Yes.
Totally. I love that. So let me ask you two questions that you can answer in any order. But one, what does love mean to you? How do you define it? And it may relate to the second question, which is what inspired you to found this? What inspired you to do this?
Wow. I love that first question. So one day, this very prestigious man in the community, he asked me a question. He said, how do you spell love? And I'm a college educated man at this point. Some says, sure, I got this. I got it. It's LOVE. And I'm thinking I got it right. And he says, no, you're not correct. And I'm blown away at this point. But he says, you spell love with TIME. So of course that's a play on words. The word is time, but it made me take a deeper look at what the word love means. We often say it not a lot, but we don't mean it or carry the weight behind saying that you love somebody. Love is an action word. Love is time investment. Love is, I know what you like, I know what you dislike. Love is, I'm going to listen to you. Love is, I'm going to set out time in my day so that you can be heard, so that you can be felt. Maya Angelou said that, it's.
I'm going to start crying, by the way, so just to let you know. I'm like, yeah, okay. So Maya Angelou.
Oh my God, you are funny. I like this. Maya Angelou said, it's people will forget about the words that you have said or even the things that you have done, but they will never forget how you have made them feel. And when I heard that quote, that is truly the essence of all of my programming. If I can make you feel a certain way, then I know that I have made impact, that I have been a part of your empowerment, a part of your enlightenment. So that's the essence of love for me. How can we make you feel? Do you feel appreciated? Do you feel like I'm listening to you? And I'll shut up after this point, but
the whole point is to talk to you, so please don't shut up. I'm loving every minute of this. It's great. And I also have like a lot of questions popping up, like, okay, yes, love's an action word, and it's about listening and seeing and hearing people and paying attention and being present. And I agree with you about the it matters how you make people feel. Like, do you make them feel like there's a safe space
Yes.
to be their authentic selves? And that's not just being celebrated. It's
Yes.
being, someone sitting with you when you're in your darkest place and having that be okay and not embarrassing.
Yes.
And feeling is so embarrassing for so many people. So I am really interested in hearing a little bit more about how you actively love your students and teach them that.
We talk about what being a positive male is all about, from the identity and image side of it, how to tie a tie, what to wear to it. And we've learned how to tie ties even on a virtual, on Zoom.
That's great. People were like, what do I do?
It was so funny.
You're like, stick it in the something.
And I'm trying to, it was difficult, but they got it. They got it, and they had fun, and they appreciated the fact. And the interesting part is they came back the following week unprompted with ties on.
Oh.
And I said, well, why did you guys do? We just wanted to show you, Mr. Maurice, that we know how to do it. Man, it was a tear that almost came down my eye.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah, they just want love. They want attention, exposure. Can you teach me something different? Can you take me out of my environment? So beyond that, we also get into, peer-to-peer leadership, conflict resolution. What can you do when you see bullying happening in front of your eyes? What can you do if you have been bullied? How can you escape that? How can you free yourself from that? We also get into dream development. A lot of our young people have dreams to be athletes, because that's the only way that they see out. I've learned that in this Mighty Brotherhood group that there's this narrative of what success looks like. And there's this narrative of what manhood looks like. And we had to break that down. We had to dispel what that is. A lot of the young men admitted, I don't really like basketball, but I think that I should, because that is the narrative that's pushed. Or I think that I should because that's what I see a lot of successful Black males do. I feel bad because I don't want to unravel everything that you've known in life, but I also want to, as a mentor, guide and direct you to a fulfilling life, one that accepts you and embraces you for who you are. One young man said, I enjoy painting, but I can't say that because I feel like I would be bullied or talked about. And at that very moment, the young men and I had a unique opportunity to support him and say, hey, you can do this. It's all right to paint. Like, you are a man that paints, and that's great. That's awesome. We support you. We love you. And he left that space. He was so encouraged that I think it wasn't the following week, but the week after, he said, I have something to show y'all. And he showed us his painting, but it took for him to be validated. It took for him to feel safe, for this to be a safe space for him to do that. Because I think often with young men, they just want to feel safe.
Yeah. And also it sounds like you saying this can exist. I'm a man and I will validate you as a man who likes to paint or who paints. You're still a man. To have someone, as you said, the peer mentor, but also just to have a facilitator who is a man, a very kind man, I can already tell, within like 1 second of seeing your smile, but just to have that like, oh, well, he's a man and I respect him. And he's saying I can paint and I'm still a man. And just having that permission. I mean, it sounds like you're really giving that a lot of the safety comes from that permission to be who you are.
I'm just going to stay there. The permission to be yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like with young men, specifically in the demographic that I serve, they feel like they.
Where in Philadelphia, by the way?
So I'm primarily in North Philadelphia,
okay,
but it is all around. So West, Southwest. We do get our young men from all across the city.
Okay. And then is it free, by the way?
It is free.
Okay.
It's a free program.
And then how do they find out about it?
So this has grown from word of mouth. So
Oh my God, you must be so proud. That's amazing.
ecstatic. Yeah, ecstatic, because I'll often get emails with saying, hey, I know this other young man that could benefit from this program. Can they sign up? Absolutely. Or we'll have a young man that says, I have a friend that would benefit from this group. Can he join? So a lot of our recruitment has been from word of mouth.
That's incredible. Do you find that the mothers or fathers or aunties or grandparents, who's kind of saying, I think this would be good for this boy, or teacher? Like, who is it usually?
It's usually the female figures, the moms, the aunties.
I
Very
like how
rare.
we're both like, it's usually the women. Yeah.
Listen, I believe girls run the world. That's just me. You
You're
can
like,
quote
just
me.
to be clear.
Right. You can quote me on that, okay? But that has been our large recruiting factor. It has been my mothers, aunties, older sisters that think that this could be a viable space for the young men that's in their lives.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so then once they feel the permission to be themselves, tell me what that looks like in a group.
It's almost like a newfound joy or a new life, because now you're able to exist in life. And I feel like sometimes our young men they go through motions. They just going through life as the media, as society has told them to live. But in this Mighty Brotherhood group, they now have authority to say, maybe I don't want to be that. Maybe I don't want to be a basketball player, and now I have permission to do otherwise. Maybe I don't want to play sports all the time or play video games. Maybe I want to journal. Maybe I want to I don't know, another interest that one of the young men had was they wanted to be an engineer, but they haven't had any prior exposure to it. They just saw something, I think, on the news. But now they have permission to do those things. And in the classes, you see more excitement, you see more energy, you see more of themselves coming to the forefront because they now have been a part of an accepting community.
That's incredible. And they're probably taking cues from you, right? Like, so I'm interested in the kind of modeling for them, right? Because if you're modeling love and kindness, that's how they're learning it. So, right? Like, so how do you go about that?
It's very humbling. It is, because sometimes, like, one of the young men will speak and the other young men will be like, you sound like Mr. Maurice.
That's awesome.
And I try not to get so overwhelmed with happiness.
You're like in the corner crying, being like, thank you.
Yes, and I just think that's the most rewarding part. For them to want to, have ownership or stake in the fact that, this is a positive male, he's a positive father, positive husband. And I want that for me.
Yeah.
I want to treat my wife how he treats his wife. I want to be a father when it's time, how he is fathering.
How do they know how you do it? Do you share stories?
All the time. I'm the storytelling king. I feel like I have to tell them authentic stories of my failures and my successes so that they can understand that I am touchable.
Right.
They can understand that this is a tangible thing that I can become. And I'm letting them know that every day is an opportunity to be better than yesterday. I haven't made it. I'm still evolving. I'm still becoming. But every day I'm making a decision to become. And I want them to understand that they have that same opportunity every day.
That it's real. Yeah. That it's something that is accessible, even if the world is saying that there aren't access points for them. You're basically saying, no, you're the access point. You can do this.
Yes, yes.
That's
because
interesting.
they often feel disposable, and a person with life, a person that breathes, should never feel disposable. When we had a segment on police brutality,
That's the immediate thing I thought of with just how fucking dangerous it is to be a Black boy and Black man in this country.
I mean, it's so hard. When one young man mentioned, I get nervous every time I see sirens. You know, there's this level of fear that comes about, and they ask me, aren't they supposed to protect and serve? I said, yes, yes, sir, they are. That's the job. That's what they're supposed to be doing. But unfortunately, it has not carried over to people that look like you and I. And
If anything, it was founded, right, on protecting white people, the whole, right, police force.
and even unpackaging that for them, they say, oh, I kind of get it now.
Yeah.
I understand the hate. I understand the willingness to not accept me. And even in that understanding, you have that knowledge, but that doesn't take away from the hurt.
Right.
And the pain that, I am not an accepted human being in this society. Yeah.
Right. Like, how can you live your life from that place? You
It's
can't.
tough. It's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough.
So give me an example of how the boys interact with each other in the group.
All right. So from day one, I say this is a loving environment. I've set the expectation of what these classes, workshops will be. And so they engage with each other with love. So if somebody says, hey guys, I had a great day today. I participated in class, I did all of my homework. So the students will say, great job, King. You're doing an awesome job. Keep up the great work. And this is from everybody in the room. And Zoom, and it had these emojis that you can use. So it's hearts all around the room from these young, strong men putting hearts around the room saying, we see you. And this is on average, this is your daily interaction and engagement with these young men, because they know that it's okay to do that. I've introduced to them that showing love is not a weakness. It's actually a strength. It's actually something that makes you stronger as an individual if you can highlight and acknowledge somebody else over yourself. Yeah. And they've taken that and run with it. I mean,
it's amazing.
The comments that they say to each other and even in the group chat has been just truly empowering. Whereas one young man said, I have to come here every week. I have to, because it's my source of inspiration. I get to see my brothers. And so we start every session with this mantra: I am a king, I am a leader, I am smart, I am my brother's keeper. Aww. So often we come back to that final stanza of I am my brother's keeper to really express what that truly means, to give praise when you're doing right, and then also to be there and hold somebody accountable when they may not be doing their best work. And
so what's an example of that?
Not doing their best work. So the young man, he was like I said, he was an honor roll student in the first marking period, but in the second marking period, he didn't do too well. And I knew personally why, because he reached out to me outside of the group. He was having some family issues that was taking away his focus from the class. So when he shared the news with his peers, they all said, hey, we know who you were or what you did in the last marking period. What happened? What's going on? So it was a level of concern. They didn't bash him. It wasn't you're dumb. No, it was more so of a,
like, hey, what's going on with you? Right, a curiosity.
And that blessed my heart, because I think we all have to get to that place of asking questions. Yes. Not just how are you doing and you say good, but no, what does good mean? How are you really feeling? So they started asking these questions, And he started to pour out to them and say exactly what was going on, what he told me. And I'm just a fly on the wall at this point.
Right, you're like, you guys are doing your thing. You're amazing.
You got it. This is what the group was for you guys to mentor each other, right? So you guys go ahead and talk. And after they found out what was going on, then it was, we're not going to leave here with just you telling us what happened. Now we have to fill you back up. Now we have to empower you. Now we have to love on you and remind you of who you are. So they were saying, hey, I remember when you got A's and B's. I know that you can do it the next marking period. Hey, don't worry about what happened. It's going to be all right. You're still here. That now it's time to turn it up. So it was just a level of, hey, my brothers are here with me. Right. I may have fallen down, but I can get back up because they're pulling me up.
Yeah.
I don't have to get up by myself. They're reaching out their hands. We can't do
it. We're not meant to do it alone. We just can't.
That's right.
I don't care how strong someone is. Like when you have been knocked down for whatever reason, you need people to be like, you got this. Because sometimes like I ask my friends to hold a belief for me that I can't hold yet, I think it's really important that we do that for each other. Yeah. So how did you learn this? Like, how did you, kind of going back to the question of what was your inspiration, you were saying that you have a beautiful relationship with your wife and that you love being a father and that love and faith. I mean, I saw on your website that you're very steeped in your faith. And I'm just wondering like how you learned this and then what made you want to then go out and teach it?
I never forget, I was young, maybe about 13, 14 years old. And I grew up in church, but I did not have a relationship with God. It was more so out of fear, You're like,
I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to go to hell.
That I just don't want those things.
No one does.
So I'm a subscribe. Sign me up. I'll be what you tell me to be. Yeah. And that turned into, I attended like this conference, youth conference at this time, and it was asking us, do we know God for us or do we know God for our grandparents or for our mom or whatever the case may be?
Right. Is it someone else's God, right? That you've been kind of like, what kind of man are you thinking you're being? Because you're being told that too.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, exactly. And I said, I want to get to know him for me. So I'm a big chicken finger and fries guy. I love chicken tenders and fries.
You're like, I just need to let you know this. And you're like a very important fact about me.
Very important. Yes. So I said, I'm going to have an intimate dinner with God. And I got me some chicken tenders and fries. And I just cut off all distractions and I just talked with him. And that was by far the best experience that I've had in my life. I felt like God talked with me and that we had this exchange of who he is and who he wants me to be. And I developed a relationship with him in that moment, whereas now I pray 3 times a day. Like God is my greatest mentor. And he has shown me how to love, how to operate, how to forgive, how to be the things that I didn't have. I didn't have a good father. I didn't have a good representation of what being a husband is like, but I wanted that. So I was seeking after God and he filled me up with all of these things. So my relationship with God is truly a driving force of who I am and who I want to be and who I'm evolving to be, in the sense that even when, at home, I ask God, hey, how can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? And he reveals those things to me daily. And I'm forever grateful for my relationship with him.
Can you give me an example of that? I mean, I'm interested personally. And also just, I do think that there's something about encouraging people to have their own relationship with their higher self, God, the universe, whatever they want to call it, that again, it goes back to, we can't do this alone. Being human is so hard. That I love that every aspect of your life comes from that relationship, so that you learning to have your own conversation is helping you in your work. So I'm just curious about if you say something like I've done something where I'm like, show me trust,
Yes.
right? And then I'll look and I'll find it coming up. Like I'll find a situation where I think it's about trusting someone else, but it's about trusting myself or my intuition. So for you, when you say something like, how can I be a better husband? What shows up for you? Could you give me an example of that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because like you said, it's not always him saying to you or giving you something so tangible that you know it's him.
Right.
Sometimes
It's not like
really,
someone directly talking to you being like, and this is what it is.
exactly. So I asked him, this was very recent. And I know that I'm a good father, good husband, but I'm always willing to be better. Right.
That's amazing.
So I was talking to God. I said, God, how can I be a better father? And I read, me and my daughter, we read every night. We read every night and we say our affirmations to each other. And that a couple of weeks ago, she said, Dad, I want to spend some more time with you. And and in my mind, I'm like, I'm here all the time. I didn't understand it. But she was seeking quality one-on-one time with me.
Right.
And at that moment, God revealed to me, hey, you're focused on being the father as in the provider financially, but I need you to focus on being the father of a provider of presence.
Yes.
I need you to be there. Like, I need you to set aside time just for you and your daughter, one-on-one quality time, because you need to provide presence.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been working on for the past couple of weeks or so, just providing my presence more. So that was a very just unique opportunity for me to grow as a father. And I've since have been able to do that. Like for today,
I was also going to say, and it's awesome that what you're doing professionally is providing presence for people. And yet in your own home, you can go deeper in that work, right? Like you're giving the world the work you know you need and want. And then you're being reminded that that still has to happen with you and your daughter and your wife. And so that's really cool that goes back to what you said in the beginning of I'm always becoming. Like I'm not a perfect person, but it's that kind of waking up and hoping for something better and evolving. What I like about that is you're inadvertently teaching, or maybe, you know how you're saying, like you get in these lessons about character, growth mindset, this idea that we don't have just some fixed worth, right? Like we're born not worth enough, or, you know, like some sense of, well, I'm not good at math, and so I must never be good at something, or I didn't know how to have a relationship with someone, and so I guess I don't know, versus, well, why don't you be in conversation? Why don't you be in process? Like being in process is okay.
That's right.
And I just think that that takes a lot of pressure off people, right? I mean, my son, my 8-year-old, he's such a perfectionist.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where I tried to do soccer with him. Like I tried to get him to take a soccer class. And one, it was just total fucking chaos. It was like kids all over the field everywhere, you know, and he's someone who's already has like sensory issues. Yeah. So he's like, what the fuck is happening? So that's already going on. And then he sees this little girl. She's younger. He's maybe like 5 and she's, I don't know, 4, maybe 6. She's 4. She's amazing. She's such a good soccer player. And he starts to sob on this soccer field. I'm never going to be as good as she is. Never going to be. And I'm just trying to be like, just have fun. Like, just have fun. You know? But it's like, I can't tell someone who's flipping out just to have fun. It was not working. We had to leave the field. But I feel like that taught me so much about I don't know where he was getting it. I don't know if that's just his personality and how he's wired, or if he was seeing that somewhere, but that's something we've really been trying to work on, that it is okay to not know how to do something. Like, how are you ever going to start? Right. But if you feel like you can't do it, then there's no starting place. There's no like ability to be in process. Right. So like
Yeah.
you're showing that it goes back to your modeling it.
Yeah, I love that because, I tell the young men all the time, you don't know until you know. I know that makes like, it's like kind of weird in saying it, but you don't know until you know. Don't take yourself out of an opportunity before you've had an opportunity to actually try it.
Right.
And that can come with success or failure, but even in the failure, there's a lesson
You've
that
learned
you
something.
exactly.
Right? It's not for naught. Because people in this culture, they're like, I knew someone once who was like, I love guitar, but I knew I wasn't good enough to be professional, so I stopped playing guitar. And you're like, if you love guitar, even if you can't go play gigs or whatever, like that's something that could just bring such quality to your life. Like you could emotionally regulate through the guitar. How sad that in this culture, it's like if you're not going to be great or
Hmm.
the best, then you shouldn't. Like as if there's no benefits to anything.
Yeah, listen, I tell the young man, listen, I'm not the tallest male, okay?
I can't tell because you're sitting. How
Yes,
tall are you?
I am. If it's a sunny day outside, a good weather day, I'm a 5'5".
Okay, you're 5'5". On a
Yeah,
bad sunny day, I didn't realize sun affected height.
yeah. In some way, yeah. If it's a cold day, I may be a 5'4". Yeah. So that's
Okay, so you're not very tall. For what
not
you
at
don't
all.
have in height, you have in your smile, so it's fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I tell them I love basketball though. I'm not tall, but I love basketball. I tell the young men, listen, stay close to the things that you love because in that you'll find your purpose and you'll find happiness. And your first purpose is to be happy. Regardless if you don't know what you want to be in life, if you don't know what you've been called to do or what your giftings and talents are, the first purpose is to have joy and to have peace and to be happy within yourself. And if you are to, you know, guarantee or achieve that first purpose, then everything else will align. And a part of that is just being like that person, if that person just to stay close to that guitar, stay close to what you love. And I think that's truly empowering piece for people all ages to understand because we do let things go because we don't feel like we can take it to
The next level.
the next level. So one person asked, well, I want to do this, but somebody else is already doing it. And there was an idea to do some sneakers.
Okay.
And they said, well, I don't think I can do this, Mr. Maurice, because there's other people that's doing it. Well, I said, well, they're not you.
They're not you.
You know, you will bring your own essence to the field. You will bring your own ideology, your own curiosity, your own creativity to the field. Just embrace that. Because if you're truly doing what you love to do, then there will be opportunity there.
Yeah.
But you have to just be authentic in yourself and saying that this is what I've been called to do. And if that's the case, then purpose always provides. It
Oh, I
always does.
like that. I'm sure that's a line that you use a lot. I love that line. It's an amazing line. It's so good. It's really good.
I think as a parent or guardian or person that's responsible for the upbringing of an individual, I think the first thing that you have to do is love yourself first.
Yes.
I think it's very impossible to give adequate and fulfilling and transformative love if you can't occupy that for yourself. So I would very much say have time for personal investment. Build yourself up as you're building others. Meet your children are where they are intentionally. And I say that to say like my daughter loves sciencey things. Hands in the dirt. She likes to collect rocks. She likes to paint. These are things that are not things that I would enjoy, right? If I had a choice,
Oh, I get it.
right?
Pokemon over here. Can you
Come-
play a Pokemon battle? I'm like, do I have to play a Pokemon battle? I get it. But I mean,
but you meet them where they are intentionally. It's not enough that I, get her the science equipment or say, hey, go ahead and do this volcano experiment. But I have to be there too. I have to go on the nature walks with her. I have to meet her where she is intentionally, making time and setting time aside to cater to her interests, her likes, and being able to listen well. Listen to exactly what they're saying, their body movements. Like, what does that say? What is that person's love language? How are they receiving and experiencing love? That's my job. That's my job to do that, and I think that can help to offset the negatives that's in the world. It can help to offset the fact that I'm not feeling welcomed in any space and in a school or in an organization that's primarily white. That helps to offset those things when they come.
yeah, right. It's maybe the only thing that can offset those things. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.